Hey YouTube, it's TerminateK2 here, coming with another deck profile. It's my updated Shiranuis for the October format. So recently I went to my LLDS here, and I managed to come second with this deck. And I managed to get myself a nice new mat, as you can see. And I'm planning on taking this to the LLDS Stage 2, and I'm going to update it with some new cards I got. But just thought I might show you what I came second with. The only thing I lost to the entire day was PK Fire. And I lost to him in round 1 and then in the finals. So I kind of need to get the deck to be able to counter them more. But let's get started. So first off, I run 3 Shiranui Solitaire. So this is one of the best cards. I always manage to open it first turn. And basically, when it's summoned, you can tribute one zombie monster you control, then special summon one zombie tuner from your deck with 0 defense. So that's either your Uni-Zombie or your Spectral Sword. And then if you and it comes off, makes a really good combo with the Uni-Zombie. Then its second effect is, if this card is banished, you can target one banished Shiranui monster, except Solitaire, and special summon it. If you control a face-up Shiranui style Synthesis, which is the field spell, you can target 2 monsters instead. So this is very good. At the moment, this field spell isn't that good, but there's a new trap card that's coming out, and I think it was Raging Tempest or later, that acts as Style Synthesis. It's a really good trap card. Can't wait for that to come out. And next they're on Triple Uni-Zombie. One of the best cards in the deck. You have to run it at 3. Level 3 Zombie Tuner. Its effect is you can target one monster on the field, then discard a card, increase that monster's level by 1. And its second effect is, you can target one monster on the field. For the rest of the turn, monsters cannot attack except for zombie monsters. Then send one zombie-type monster from your deck to the graveyard. Increase the targeted monster's level by 1. So the way this combo is off well with Solitaire is, you'd send Mizuki to the graveyard. You'd summon Solitaire, tribute Solitaire to summon Uni-Zombie. Uni-Zombie's effect targeting itself, send Mizuki from deck to grave, or from hand if it's in your or discard it from your hand if it's in your hand. Then you'd banish Mizuki, special summon Solitaire, instant level 8. So Solitaire makes is a 1 card level 8 synchro. So it's very good. Next are in Triple Mizuki. Another really good card in the deck. Have to run at 3. Banish it, special summon one zombie monster from your grave. So basically, when I used to run the Zombie World, you could target any monster. But most of my deck is zombies anyway, so it's very helpful. Bring back your Uni-Zombies or your Solitaire for another tribute. And then you can put it back in your graveyard later with Omegas. But sadly, I don't actually have any Omegas yet. But I'll get to that later. Next are on Triple Shiranui Spirit Master. Another really good card in the deck. Its effect is, when this card is normal summoned, I think it's just normal summoned, you can special summon one Shiranui monster from your hand or graveyard, but that monster is banished when it leaves the field. And if this card is banished, you can target one face-up card on your opponent's side of the field, I'm pretty sure, and then destroy it. Or it could just be one face-up card, but it has to be face-up to target. So that combo, that's really good. So quite often, what I would do is normal summon this to special summon my Solitaire if I have one, then use Solitaire's effect to tribute my Spirit Master to get it in the grave, especially new zombie, and then I have another monster on the field. So if you have both Spirit Master, if you have a Spirit Master in your hand and then a Solitaire in hand or grave, always summon your Spirit Master to get the Solitaire. And then if you have a banished Shiranui monster, you can tribute your Solitaire instead to get its effect off, and then its second effect would activate since it was banished as well. So it works. This card works quite well. And then one change I made since my last profile is I've cut down Samurai just to 1. And I liked him at 3. I liked him at 2 before, but I think just 1 is just good enough at the moment for now, because he isn't really useful for anything else but banishing your monsters from your graveyard. So his effect is level 4. He's basically a beat stick. He's got 1800 attack. So his effect states, once per turn during either player's turn, you can banish one zombie monster from your graveyard. This card gains 600 attack, and then any monster at the end of the damage step any monster it battles is banished. So this card is just very helpful. Makes basically all your Shiranui monsters in your graveyard live, and he can get rid of lots of problematic cards. I'm pretty sure it gets rid of Chaos Max if it has to go against that, because it banishes it, doesn't destroy. And it's not a target either. You can banish, if you're versing Cosmo, which I did this quite a bit, you banish their ships so they don't get to banish them themselves. And sometimes your monster may get destroyed, but Samurai might die, but it doesn't really matter. And since there's a quick effect, you can do it when your opponent declares an attack on it. For example, I made the mistake of banishing my opponent's tin can while they still had Cosmo Town on field. It wasn't good, but I still won that game. And then his Samurai's banish effect isn't that good. It's when this card is banished, you can target one Shiranui monster in your graveyard, return it to hand. So you'd only really want this to get your Solitaires or Spirit Masters back, but you kind of don't really need them back in your hand that much. But that's why I just run one of it. And then I run 2 Shiranui Special Swords. This card I'm trying to decide whether or not to stick it to 1 now, but at the moment I ran it at 2 for the event, and it's quite helpful. Didn't see it as much, which one thing I'm cutting it, but its effect is, if this card is in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it along with another zombie monster, and if you do, special summon 1 zombie type synchro monster from your extra deck whose level is equal to the level of the monsters you banished. So usually you'd banish this along with one of your level 4 zombies to summon out one of the level 6 synchros, or you can banish this along with the level 6 synchro to summon your Shogun Saga. Again, I'll get to the extra deck cards later. I run 2 Zombie Master. Again, there's another card I'm thinking of trying to cut or not. Basically, it's if this once per turn you can discard a monster card from your hand, then target 1 zombie monster in your graveyard to special summon it. Now you can only use his effect if you have a viable target to begin with. So unless you have a zombie in your graveyard, you can't use his effect. But also, as long as you have a zombie in your graveyard, you can discard a zombie from your hand and special summon the card you discarded. As long as you, like I said, you originally had a target. But didn't use him as often. He's kind of helpful. You can discard cards you want in your graveyard and summon them off back. Summon, like, you can use it to summon as Unizombie, and then you get Unizombie's effect to make level 7 or 8 synchros. 9s if you want to try and play them, but not really any good 9s. Next, I run 2 Goblin Zombie. So Goblin Zombie I found was quite a good handy card. It's if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can add 1 zombie type monster with 1200 defense or less. So quite often what I did with this card is send it. If I had Mizuki or something in the grave already, and I'd use Unizombie to send that to grave, special summon it with Mizuki, and then when I synchro summoned, Goblin Zombie would get his effect off. And I can sometimes use that depending if I'm summoning Shogun Saga to dodge strikes. If you can order the chains, pretty sure. Never had to deal with it much, but so to summon it, you need to get your search for any of your combo pieces later. And finally, the last monster I run is 1 Plague Spreader. Again, I'm thinking about taking this card out altogether. Didn't really use it. Not really that helpful, but it can just make a synchro play. Just if it's in the graveyard, you can just put 1 card from your hand to the top of your deck, especially from the grave, and then it's banished when it dies. Or when it leaves the field, but not a big fan of him. That's it for the monsters. Go on to the spells. I started running with 2 Twin Twisters. So, rank 2, not 3. I got the 3rd one sided. So it's discard a card, then target 2 spell traps on the field, destroy them. Pretty standard. Good for getting your zombies from your hand into the graveyard for their effects later. Just all around good card. Helps get rid of counters demise decks or pendulums. Anything that uses lots of spell trap support. Next, 2 Gold Sark. After this card went back to 3, I was like, I've got to play this in my zombie decks as multiple. I tried 3 at one point, but found it too cloggy. And 2 was quite a good number. Had it when was able to see it when I needed it. So having it 2 doesn't mean I didn't see it all the time. Then having 3 meant I saw it too much. 1 didn't see it enough. 2 just I found it was a good number. And basically you banish any of your Shiranui monsters, they get their effects off, and then you get it to your hand 2 turns later, unless you move it. But all around good card for this deck, since all their effects become what they are when banished. If I ever get my hands on a Necroface, and maybe some Pot of Desires, this would work quite well. Three Lower Darkness. I found 3 to be a good number. I had to get some advice on that one. I was trying to debate whether 1, 2, or 3. I have, I think, let's have a check. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 8 dark targets. So, and since I can use the all effects when banished, it doesn't really hinder me much. And even if you don't have a dark monster to banish, most of the time with this monster count, you'll draw monsters you want on the grave. So once I blinded, I did a blind Lower Darkness, drew into 2 of my Shiranui monsters. Since I had nothing to banish, I sent them all to the grave. Then I was able to make plays off that. So Lower works quite well with this deck because you want your stuff in grave. Just make sure you set any spell and traps beforehand. Next, around 1 Burial for a Different Dimension. Another good card. Target 3 of your banished monsters and put them back in the graveyard. So good for a mid-late game. Target your triple Mizuki, put them all back. I once used this card to dodge a Herald of Ultimate of Perfection. I was wrestling a Herald deck and I managed to dodge it with this. So he had 3 cards in hand, all happened to be lights. I had 3 Mizukis in grave, and this in hand, and he negated each of my Mizuki effects. I activate this, put all 3 back. He couldn't stop me afterwards. I was just too fast at that point. So it's such a good card, and it's up to 3, so you can and either player's graveyard. So if your opponent's also playing a deck that wants their stuff banished, you can put them back to annoy them if you need to. Sometimes you have to activate this when you only have like 1 or 2 cards in your banished pile, but generally you don't want to. Next I play 1 Book of Life. This card helped me against some Magician Girl or Magician matchup. So you target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard and 1 monster in yours, banish the monster from your opponent's graveyard and special summon your monster. So this helps you get rid of problem cards in your opponent's graveyard. So if they have monsters in their graveyard that you don't want in their grave, banish it, summon back 1 of your zombies. It's a bitch card to use. Then 1 Foolish Burial. So just send a zombie monster from your deck to grave. Very easy. Get your Mizukis in the graveyard faster. This basically is like a 3rd uni-zombie in terms of sending Mizukis. So you kind of have to run it. Now this next card is 1 Soul Charge. I never used it once in any of my games in the LLDS. So I'm thinking about just getting rid of it altogether. But the thing is, I don't want to get rid of it because the time I'm going to need it, I would have taken it out. So I'm kind of it's a love-hate thing with this. I kind of want to keep it for the fact that it's a good card to have in my zombie deck and you kind of need it. But then again, I never use it, never see it, because that one, and it just dies. And since I can't start my battle phase, kind of hinders the whole purpose of the deck. But you give me your opinions in the comments. Next I run 1 Dark Hole and 1 Raigeki for just monster destruction. Clear my opponent's field, bait out negations if I'm versing Herald. Again, just good cards. That's it for the spells. Moving on to the traps, I run triple Shiranui style Swallow Slash. Basically, I think that's Icarus Wing Attack of the deck. Tribute 1 zombie monster, target 2 cards in the field, destroy them. And then, if you do that, you have to banish this Shiranui monster from your deck. Which, in most cases, you will banish your Spirit Master for a 3rd pop. So basically, it's a 3. You get rid of 1 card to get rid of 3 of your opponents. Very helpful. And I think it's once per turn. Yeah, it's only once per turn. But still, it's also good MST back. like Twin Twister bait, they'll MST bait or something. They'll try and destroy it early, and if the turn you just activate it, kill some more of their stuff. Next I run Triple Call the Haunted. Just summon back a zombie monster from your grave and attack. Since they all have low defense, you don't really want them in defense, and they all have most of them have high attack. Summon back your synchros after you've summoned them. Since the two especially Shogun Saga gets his effect when special summoned, not synchroed. So as long as you synchro summon him properly the first time, this works quite well. And the last two I run one Bottomless just for monster removal, and a Warning. Because I was gonna use my strikes, but I forgot to bring them with me to the event, and that kind of killed me against the BA. That's one of the biggest reasons I lost against BA, because I didn't have my strikes to stop their summons. But, you live and learn. So that was a 41 card, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was a 41 card deck. And moving on to my extra deck, I'll start off with 2 Shiranui Shogun Sagas. So this is the level 6 Zombie Tuna, Synchro, not Tuna. Its effect is once per turn, during either player's turn, you can target one banished zombie monster in your deck, great banished pile, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, put all monsters whose attack is equal or less than the monster you shuffled into the deck to defense position. So this card is very helpful against decks that use low attacks, especially if you're saying like Dante or a BA and they summon their Dante attack position, then you went to go activate its effect, you just go activate his effect, set their Dante back to defense, Dante gets his effect off, then they've got 25 attacking Dante in defense position. It's funny when you do that. Also helps if you have him banished. If he's banished, you can target one monster on the field and it loses 500 or something. It loses 500 attack. So you can banish this along with your Spectral Sword to make the level 8 zombie. And then this guy's effect will activate to make one of your opponent's monsters weaker. And then if you have zombie monsters banished, his effect is even more powerful because it sets more things to defense. Yeah. Next I run 1 Archfiend Zombie Skull. This card is not easy to make, there's only one way you can make it in this deck, and that's by banishing Spectral Sword in any level 4 zombie monster, because Archfiend Zombie Skull's summon condition is Plague Spreader, plus 2 or more zombie type monsters. So, and since he's level 6, that would be pretty much a level 2 Tuna, which is Plague Spreader, then a level 3 and a 1, or 2 2s, or 4 1s, or a 2 and 2 1s. Yeah. But, which isn't, you can't really do in this deck. So, and since you're special summoning it off Spectral Sword's effect, it works quite well. So this is not considered a synchro summon. And then your Archfiend Zombie Skull's effects is zombie monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that includes, if this thing's summoned and it wasn't negated, they can't, if they strike one of your zombie monsters later, like strike the effects that's on the field, the monster doesn't die, it just doesn't get its effect off. So it's a good little protection card. Next they're on last level 6 is just 1 Go-Yo Guardian. Just have it if you need it, just 2800 beat stick, level 6, easy to make, and then if it kills a monster, or one of your opponent's monsters, you put it on your side of the field. I stole my opponent's tin can with this effect. It was funny. So they couldn't use it. And that's it for the level 6s. Moving on to level 7s, I run 1 Black Rose for field removal. Thinking about taking this out and swapping out for Meteor Burst Dragon. Because I don't really want my whole field getting blown up as well as my opponent's. But it's good little removal. Then 1 Clear Wing for mostly Herald, or any high-level monster decks that use high-level monsters like Cosmo or Blue Eyes. 2 Samurai Shiranui's Shogun Sagas. So the boss monster of the deck, 3000 attack. When this guy is special summoned, you can banish 1 zombie monster in your grave. This card gains attack equal to the banished monster for the rest of the turn. So in one of my games, I summoned this guy. My opponent striked it, summon. So it was engraved. So I summoned a second one. Was able to summon a second one. They couldn't strike it. Used his effect to banish the first one. So I had a 6,000 attacking monster. And yeah. Then if this card is sent from field to grave, target one banished zombie monster with 0 defense and return it to the grave. So this basically can get back the monster. This can put back the monster it banished into the grave. Sad thing about this card and Samurai Saga, which I forgot to say before, is they can only be summoned once per turn. So the fact that my opponent striked it negated its summon, which means since it never was summoned, I can attempt to summon a second one. Next, I run one Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, so just good clearance. I decided to be a little annoying during one of my opponent's games, and they had a bunch of monsters, and I had some monsters. I had a Digested Emerald on the field, detached its second material, and then used his effect, and basically blew up my entire opponent's field and my one other monster. So it's destroy all other monsters on the field, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each card destroyed. So that's a very good monster removal, especially if you're versing a deck that special summons a lot. And that's it for the synchros. Moving on to the XZs, I run one Abyss Dweller for just stopping BA and stuff during my opponent's turn. It does hurt me. It does hurt me if I want to use it during my turn, but it's usually you'd summon its main phase 2 if you can. That's just a good card to have. One Digested Emerald, so just putting my zombie monsters from my grave back into my deck for a draw. That's quite good. One Castell, just monster removal, very standard. Then for my rank 6s, I run one Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, so this lets me send my zombie monsters from deck to grave if I summon it. I run 4 level 6 synchro, so I can summon it. It's not hard to summon, but not easy either. But just good effect. Run one Utopia Beyond. Again, just all I need is 2 of my level 6 synchros. When I have that, I can just summon this guy, set all my opponent's monsters attack to 0, attack over their stuff. Helpful. And then one Hope Harbinger. Since I got 3 level 8s, and if I need to, I can make this. Again, I'm cutting quite a few of these cards. These are just cards I had at the time to fill my extra deck. Trying to get some new ones before the next LLDS. That's it for the extra deck. And finally, moving on to my side deck, I ran 2 Flying Seeds. This was funny against the BA player. I summoned this guy, one of them to him on his first turn. He set to attack during his next turn, attacked into my Shogun Saga and took how much damage? He took 23 damage. Then during his main phase 2, he summoned a different monster, so I activated the second one and gave him it again. He got really salty after that. But then in one game, I summoned it and he treated it for Vanity's Fiend, which kind of killed me in the end. I was able to get my my Swallow Slash at the end, but I lost to him in the end overall. 2 Effect Veilers to just monster negation, their effect negation. Just it helped me a bit. One thing I didn't realize, because I didn't verse BA often, but I forgot that Dante's mill effect is a cost. So activating this is kind of useless. You only want to activate this if their Dante's in attack position, and then they activate its effect. Next I run one Raiden, it's another alert target and helps get rid of problem cards. It's a bit helpful. One Allied Justice Quarantine, prevents Blue Eyes from special summoning monsters. You can't special summon light monsters, is what its effect states. And it's just another level 4 beer. My third Twin Twister. I run 2 Shared Ride. Guess matchups include like Metal Foes or anything that stretches a lot. So Metal Foes and Monarchs, which there was one Monarch player there at the event. And so every time your opponent adds a card to the hand, you draw a card. Quite cool. 2 Magical Springs. This card is, you draw cards up to the number of face-up spell and traps your opponent controls. Then you discard cards up to the number of face-up spells and traps you control, which in the time is usually just this, so you only have to discard 1 card. And, yeah, and your opponent's Pendulum Zone can't be destroyed for the rest of the turn. So, well, spell and traps can't be destroyed for the rest of the turn, so helpful little card. Next, I run 1 Jar of Avarice, just because I had a 15th space extra. I was like, I'm just going to put that in just to see what happens. Didn't use it just because it was in there. And then finally, 1 Exe Universe for BA and the Infinity. So Exe Universe sends 2 basically rank 3s to the graveyard, especially on a rank 6 from my extra deck. So steal my opponent's Dantes or break swords with the paint since he was playing PK Fire. Didn't really use it though, so gonna cut it. So that was my profile. Any comments would be helpful, and I'm planning on making another box opening soon for Archibento. So like and subscribe and comment. Bye.